As a prospective writer, I would urge you to not only read good books, read terrible books as well, because they can be more inspiring than the good books.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a couple of links to the two stories we're going to look today. So we are covering Alan Moore's entire Captain Britain run. So we are going to do chapters 13 and 14 today. These are from 1983 back in Marvel UK. Marvel reprinted this twice, but they're out of print. I don't know if they'll ever publish them. I won't say ever, never, but at least not while Alan Moore is alive, because that man makes things difficult. He makes. All right, so as much as I admire him, he really makes his work very hard to get. He lets things go out of print. I don't know why, but he is the way he is, and so um, it's just kind of hard. Even though he doesn't own it, he whines a lot. It's sometimes it's better. These companies just rather not deal with him. DC sort of said we don't give a shit anymore, but even then they're kind of not true because they only say that with Watchmen. However, and they've let his oh my goodness that he did with David Lloyd. Oh goodness, that name. But that one's been out of print for a few years. V for Vendetta. So so we'll see whether this comes back. So all right, here we go. So you can see Captain Britain is falling through the dark here. It's black and it's comfortable. Where is he? He had been talking to the woman, Linda McKillen, Captain UK. She had walked away from him, white coat vanishing over the dark lawns of Braddock Manor. And then a scream, a shrill, hopeless scream of an animal paralyzed with terror. He'd gone to investigate naturally. The thing had been standing astride her. It knocked him down. He got up again. It turned to face him. He saw what it was, and here you can see the Furies and Captain Britain. No, not again. It's dead. And boom. It's dead. But they never really die. Alan Moore is the writer. Alan Davis is the artist. He is the inker as well. You don't see Alan Davis inking himself very often. So inside, I think she's trying to swallow her tongue. Cobweb, can you hear us? Help them, she says. Zeitgeist, help them. And so you can see Cobweb's not doing very well. I didn't see it coming. Like going blind. What's going to happen? War Dog crippled. Legion dead. It isn't an animal. It isn't a machine. It ate the old woman. Bones dissolving. And Zeitgeist is like, Legion dead. Cobweb. I've never seen her like this before. She said they needed help. No, not me. Not this time. And he sprays her with something. It's a principle, I told War Dog. I don't risk my life for fun. I'm a professional. No, there's no money involved. I can't help. And so, don't you understand? I just can't. That's all. And so this one is saying something. And the Fury is analyzing it here. A hormone is secreted. A wire pulses. And the Fury does what it does and kills it. And somewhere, Cobweb's eyes roll back in her skull as a tar-black shriek of despair tears itself out of her lungs. And somewhere, the parahuman called Fascination stops smiling. You can see her there getting angry. Fascination, no, not on your own, says War Dog. And you can see the Fury seeing her coming to him. It begins to raise its weapon fist, eliminate, but everything is suddenly moving so. And you can see it like, I love it how they're interpreting slowly how they, that's really cool. So, female interfering with the temporal lobe of brain, and so it shuts down and it switches its consciousness to auxiliary nervous system in the small of its back. You can see there. And then it hits her. It learns fast. Unlike some people, and there's Captain Britain. Very I think he kicks her head. Very cool there. Some people never learn at all, and it hits Captain Britain. Hits him again, and hits him again. And picks him up. While others learn only when it's almost too late, and there's Zeitgeist. Almost. Something is attacking it, but how can it be? How can that be when there isn't anything there? So Fury apparently can't see Zeitgeist. It tries for an infrared indication. Nothing. It tries to pick up brainwaves. Nothing. Frantically, it searches for the most basic molecular activity. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It can't register my presence. What's everybody waiting for? And so everybody attacks. You can see that guy says, kill it. Kill it while it's confused. And so these vertical panels here, have you look at them one more time because there are 4 of them. So, and here in the last one, Cap Britain launches itself. Vertical panels are very cool. Very, very cool. And some more vertical panels here. We'll go at it again. And so the Fury has apparently disappeared. Where's it gone, says Saturnine. It went through into the cave system. It buried under tons of rocks. It'll be back, says Captain Britain. Yes, we'd better move out of the manor. But it's my home. I live here. Do you want to face that thing again? No, I don't. You're right. We can all travel together, maybe down to London, see if we can sort out this James Jasper business. Only, what about her? This is Captain UK. By the way, there's a playlist for Alan Moore, so feel free to check it out. I've been covering this. After this one, I'm going to do Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, the 2-part series. And then I think we will start with Miracle Man after. She'll need treatment for shock and some clean clothes. She's wet. So, why should she get special treatment? She didn't even help us fight that thing. Everybody's wet. And so Saturnine says, not wet like her. She's wet because she was very frightened. Grow up, Captain. She means she peed herself. Zeitgeist, look, I want to thank you. I don't want your thanks, War Dog. I only stepped in to prevent everybody getting killed because of your stupidity. As it was, I was almost too late. One of Legion's future selves is dead. That means he's got what, about 3 weeks at most before he snuffs out forever? Oxo got torn in half. Cobweb had a seizure that almost killed her. You've been dismembered. All in about 5 minutes. Well, if that's your idea of how professional business works, you can count me out. I'm resigning from the executive effective as of now. Zeitgeist, there's no need. You're right. Captain, I'm sorry, but I've got a responsibility to these people. I can't ask them to involve themselves in something like this. Not for nothing. We have to get back to the Sidewinder. We have to lick our wounds, bury our dead, and think things over. I hope that creature's really dead. This time, I hope you can stop Jasper before he repeats that nightmare that his counterpart caused on Captain UK's Earth. But we're on our own. Is that it, War Dog? Yes, Captain. That is it. And so we end our chapter as they walk away, leaving Captain Britain, Saturnine, Psylocke, and I forgot this guy's name, alone. All right, here we go. And so we have a match striking and a cigarette being lit and then being offered to somebody. Here, thanks. So anyway, what have you heard? About him? Of course about him. What have you heard? Well, someone said, shh. What? Shush. And so, all right, go on. Someone said they'd seen him in a food line. And so, these chapters are about 8 pages each, so. And Alan Moore really packs a lot. There were 2 Beatles there, 2 of them. They pulled someone out of line. Not him. No, not him. Someone else. They asked to see his papers. He said the district marshal's office hadn't sent him yet. And you can see there they beat him up. One of them said he'd got funny colored eyes, you know, the way they start. You got funny colored eyes. No, I haven't. They're gray. They're funny. Mutants have funny eyes. Cyborgs have funny eyes. Aliens have funny eyes. Then their mate goes, "You're right, George. He's got funny looking eyes. Look at them, little yellow specks in the middle. You know how they start. You can see him here, ready to start crying. Anyway, this fellow's girlfriend was in the food line. She started roaring and going hysterical. There was this big bloke behind her in the line. She was asking him for help. She was pulling at his coat. That's when it happened. You can see here the Captain Britain uniform. She blew the whistle on him. The guy says, she didn't. She did. Over here. He's the one you want. He's wearing a costume. He's one of them. And then the food line just parted around him. He just stood there. And was he as big as they say? Did he stand up straight and have golden hair and burning eyes? That's what I heard. And then all of the Beatles rushed him at once. All of them? You said there were only 2. Did I? I must have forgot about the others, so you can see how people exaggerate when there were actually about 30. Sorry. 30, and did he beat them? And so, oh, look at that. That's awesome. Beat them. He slaughtered them. At the end, he was fighting on top a pile of bodies, 50 men deep. You said 30. That's awesome. No, I didn't. There were hundreds of them. And he slaughtered them. And you can see there were actually only 2. Not much, just bits and pieces. Someone said he'd come down from the north, marching into London with an army of telepaths and superheroes behind him. So you can see that they're just going through tickets. And someone else said that they were going to storm through the streets and crush all the Beatles, and nothing would stop them, and we should all be free. And somebody said he'd been killed. You can see here a guillotine. And someone said he'd been tortured and informed on all his friends. The fat girl in the end block said that last week. I marked her face. Serves her right. Fat liar. So Chris Claremont repurposed a lot of these during his Excalibur run. A lot of these characters, and so they're passing back and forth that cigarette. How did they get you? How did they get you then? At school, they did the ESP card test with the triangles and wavy lines. Didn't tell us what for. I got 48% right. Here I am. You? Roadblock. My people are traveling people. They kept me hidden, all right, for 17 years. But the Beatles searched the vans. Didn't need to do a car test with me, did they? Got my daddy William as well. Took his Crawley dolls. If he had his Crawley dolls, he'd make 'em wish they'd never lived. And if I'm still alive by next full moon, they'll bloody know about it all. And so, dead. Do you think he's really out there? Do you think he'll come? He's got to. He's got in Britain. He's got to come. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose so. Good night, Megan. Good night, Sue Love. And so, you can see that they're in a camp. And good night to you too, England. Very V for Vendetta. I wonder if this is where he got his idea to do V for Vendetta, was doing this story. So, next, The Twisted World, and that's a reprise. So, all right, so that concludes. So again, we're looking at Alan Moore's Captain Britain runs. We did parts 13 and 14. So, like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.